Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Peaches from Lovers for Healthy Life. Now this past month has been really difficult for me, but I am trying to get back into the swing of things here. And I'm going to give you a brief tour of exactly what's growing on in my raised bed garden. If you see right there, there's my sunflower freebie. It has tons of blooms on it. And I'm really excited about this sunflower, and I have several sunflowers growing in my garden. So I'm going to give you a brief tour of what's growing in my garden. So come along with me and let's have some fun. So here's our plum tree, and it has about 100 plums on it, and I'm gonna wait till they turn red. I harvested a couple of them already, and excited to get plums this year. And this right here is our mammoth pear tree that I think got hit by lightning, but it has, I don't know, I can't count the number of pears on it, maybe several hundred for sure. And so they're just now starting to set up. And here's another pear tree. It's a pineapple pear tree just like the other one, and this one right here has absolutely no pears on it. And I believe this tree is about three years old, maybe 2. So hopefully next year we'll get pears. I'm going to prune it back. And over here we have 2 mammoth-sized apple trees, and it does have apples on it. But this is another tree that we actually just need to prune. Here's the apples. Some apples. And this is a peach tree that is loaded with baby peaches. Come around here, you can actually see the peaches. And there's like a second tree growing out of it. So I'm not sure, we might have to cut that down and replant it. Well guys, I'm going to give you a brief tour of what's growing in my raised bed garden. And right here is a cherry tree, and this is a dwarf cherry tree. And I have 5 different cherry trees that's growing in my garden. And this is a cherry pie cherry tree actually. And right here in this planter I have some coffee that is growing, and some coffee growing right there. I have this growing in my basement. And then right here on the beginning of my garden I have a dwarf apple tree. This is a Golden Delicious apple tree, and I'm adding more fruit in my garden. I do have apple trees growing on the property, but I kind of wanted some right here inside my garden. And this is a Red Delicious apple tree, and it's getting its leaves really nicely. And this is another flower that blooms throughout the summer, going in this planter right here. And this is a self-watering planter. And there's my dog Midnight. Say hello, Midnight. And I think this is primrose, I do believe. I'll put a description to the link of what this type of flower is, but it grows throughout the summer. Pretty pink flowers. So right here in the front of my garden I add a little white border to keep the dog out of my flower beds. And there's my teddy bear sunflowers that are starting to bloom, and I also planted some zinnias inside of here. So hopefully when everything starts to bloom, it'll look spectacular. There's more teddy bear sunflowers starting to bloom. And as you walk in, you'll see my planters. I did a video about these planters, and they're looking pretty good. Over in this flower bed area, I have some perennials that I planted. I have, these are coneflowers and hydrangeas. There's some vincas in these little half barrels right there. And then also at the back here on this trellis area are some zinnias, and these are California giant zinnias, and I'm so happy that they turned out to be pink and instead of a red. I thought they were going to be red, but I love the color because it goes really well in this area of the pinks and the purples and also the whites, and I just think it's a really pretty flower. And then back here on this trellis, I'm going to be possibly growing some more scarlet runner beans. Also, as you walk in here, you'll see I have some pomegranate trees, and these are bushing out really nicely. I added a lot more fruit trees this year, and this is a fig tree that's finally bushing out, and there's another fig and it has tiny figs on them, and I planted strawberries at the bottom of most of them. And I have raspberry, black raspberry, growing in these planters right here. Haven't figured out where I exactly want these. This is a mango tree. I have 3 of these mango trees. My husband loves mangoes, so I decided to get mango trees this year. Here's a peppermint that's really bushing out. Have another mango tree right here. And over here we have more fig trees, and the figs are growing. I'm so excited to have so many figs this year. And look at this banana tree. It has 1 pup, 2 pup, 3 pup, a bush sphagnum growing in this planter, another banana tree, dwarf banana trees. Hopefully we'll get bananas this year. And then over here are some mums that I'll be planting out from last year. And purslane looks really pretty. And this is actually a pecan tree. And more mums, and I have peppers and more eggplants. And my pecan trees are planted throughout my garden. Not by me, but by squirrels. If you look, we have 5 pecan trees on the property. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there, and there's one way over there. And they've been up for 20 years. And we absolutely get almost 0 pecans. Why? It's because of the squirrels. And in this tomato bed, it is doing really well. I have the zinnias that are growing right on the side of the tomatoes. And then I have a banana pup that I planted right here, and it's doing well, along with the calendula that I planted right there at the bottom. I have basil growing, and peppers, and marigolds, and calendula. And the calendula is just now starting to bloom. There's a bloom right there, and more calendula right there. And then this is my sunflower. And then these are all my tomatoes that are growing in right here. And I have zinnias that are blooming right over here. And the zinnias are just so pretty. There's some more of my tomatoes that are starting to come in really well. More tomatoes here. I actually got tomatoes everywhere, and they're just doing really, really well. I'm trying to stay on top of the tomatoes and pinch them off so they won't grow too tall. And then right across are another set of tomatoes and zinnias. The zinnias are so pretty. And this is actually my first year growing zinnias in this massive amount. I planted zinnias before, but I planted a lot more this year. And these are cut and come again zinnias, so I'll be picking the zinnias. And more tomatoes right there. And then right here on this trellis, I'm growing beans, and these are scarlet runner beans. And the flowers are just so pretty. So I'm really excited about the scarlet runner beans. Over there is a cold frame that I'm putting together for the winter for the my fall garden. So my husband is harvesting the New Zealand spinach.
And all you do is go to the end of the leaf stem, pinch it off.
Yeah.
And be careful so that you don't take the new growth. If you look real closely, you'll see new spinach leaves coming out. They will mature in about a week. Bam.
Okay, well, yeah, and if you don't harvest your New Zealand spinach, basically what will happen is the plant will stop growing and it will start to flower, go to seed actually. So this will it'll make it bush out. In a couple of weeks, you'll see it bush out a lot more. So here is a planter of strawberries, and this is, I had 2 of these, and I just got so frustrated because when you go to look at your strawberries inside the planter, they were eaten already by bugs. So the only ones that are good are the ones that's hanging over the edges, like this one right here. And that one is ready to be picked. So we're gonna go ahead and pick that strawberry. But anyways, so what I did is I started putting strawberries in planters and also some hanging baskets that are a little higher, and hopefully we'll start getting strawberries that way, and it'll be bug free. And I have another one right here, and I have some over there by my seating area as well. And I thought these are really neat. I just attached them to this little trellis and hung them up this way. And these are the little planters that you get. I think you get 3 to a set, so I thought those are really nice. Now over in this bed right here is my strawberry bed, and this is where I get all my runners from to hang in my planters. And I don't get a whole lot of strawberries from this bed simply because the bugs do eat the strawberries. But as long as the strawberries are hanging like this, I'll be able to harvest them. And I have a few more hanging. So I'm able to harvest the strawberries as long as they're hanging. But as soon as they touch the ground, I'm not able to get them because the bugs get to them. That's why I like hanging the strawberries up in baskets. And also in my sitting area, this is where I have more of the strawberries that's growing in these little pots on the trellises. There's one here, and there's one right here. And there's about a dozen lemons that are getting really big, and they're looking lovely. They take forever to ripen and get big, but they are getting larger. This is a Meyer lemon tree, and I counted about a dozen of the lemons on the tree. So it's doing really good. Daryl, look at these leaves. Come over here. Do you see that leaf right there? That is totally awesome. Look how big that is. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna harvest that, and my husband's gonna show you how big those leaves are. So would you like to harvest that? You wanna get the scissors? You see scissors right there? So what do you wanna do? My husband's gonna harvest it today.
Hey.
So what you wanna do is you wanna cut way down at the bottom and get the stem as well, because I like to use those in tuna salads. So he's gonna cut that. Awesome, you did great. And then you wanna get this one right here.
Chop and drop.
Yep, chop and drop that, that's good.
Weed it.
Yep, careful that you don't pull these are some plants too, baby plants.
See that.
Yeah, it's easy to pull those.
Okay.
I have
Wow,
some
look at
basil
this
too.
leaf.
You wanna cut?
Beautiful.
We'll just leave that one there. Just go
Okay.
ahead and cut
Look at
this
that leaf.
one,
Nice.
yeah. All the way down to the bottom.
But I see new growth, so I'm not gonna get the new growth. Right
Perfect.
there.
And look how big this is. Stand up, babes, so I can show you. Well, that is huge. Yep, bigger than my big head too. Whoa. Now over here is one of my newest beds, and I'm growing cucumbers that are starting to flower, and also squash over here. And you can see some of the squash. Get out of this. You can see some of the squash. They're doing really well. This one's really big. It's about time to pick that one. And what I did over this bed, I kind of just duplicated it. So this is like a succession planting. I planted more squash plants and more cucumber plants right over here. I'm gonna go ahead and pick this zucchini today. Wow, that's a pretty big zucchini. And on the other side of this raised bed, I have basil. This is Italian leaf basil, marigolds, and then also more zucchini growing. And then more cucumbers that are starting to come in. And the cucumbers are doing really well. I just come out here and just make sure they're growing on the trellis. I love growing cucumbers on trellises because it makes harvesting so much more easier. So over here I have my patty pan squash, and this is the white patty pan squash. And They're doing pretty good. There's one there. And there's one growing right there. And I have one right there and one right there. And one way over there. So they're going pretty well. So I'm really happy that they're doing good this year. Last year, it was really hard to get them because they were getting eaten up by bugs. But this year, they seem to be doing pretty well. And over here, I have my grapevine that's growing up this fence. It's a grapevine here. And right here is another dwarf cherry tree. And it's doing really well. It's starting to leaf out. And in this circular raised bed, my marigolds are taking over. I have marigolds. I even have some calendula growing right there. And more marigolds and eggplants somewhere in here. There's a tomato plant growing right there. And oregano and peppers. And I have living balm growing right here. And this is a sunflower right here in the middle. And this is the sunflower amber eye. It's so pretty. This was the one that was gifted to me by Chris from Haphazard Homestead. And right over here is my sweet potato bed that's really filling in. There's some marigolds that I planted as companion planting. There's a marigold right there. And then some chamomile that I planted for companion planting. And then right here is the sunflower freebie that has tons of sunflowers on it. And then right over here is the a cherry tree, and this is Rainier cherry tree, I think. And this particular cherry tree I actually planted in the ground. We want to see how it does. It's supposed to be good for our zone, but with the weather the way it is, you just never know. But it is starting to leaf out. And right over here is the dwarf cherry tree that was in my previous video. And it's doing the best of all my cherry trees. I'm not sure what I'm doing different to this one, but it is loving its little pot right here. And this is the banana tree that's doing well. This was the tiny banana tree, and it's starting to leaf out really, really well. And right here are eggplants and pepper plants. And the pepper plants are starting to bear fruit. And then there's a sunflower right here in the middle. Has a little bee on it. And then I have more pepper plants. And I believe these are peach habanero pepper plants over there. And right here are the pepperoni pepper plants. And I've already been harvesting these, and they're doing really well. And also more eggplants.